We'll start off with Al Jazeera. There are already celebrations taking place on the streets.
A couple hours turned this whole area into a stage of celebration, something that we're not used to see as early hour of this morning. And what we see in the past days, this area here at the hospital used to be a stage for funerals for bodies that are killed and brought to the hospital, much of it filled with agony and sadness. But the past couple hours have been particularly different, more of an expression of much of the feelings that have been suppressed for the past 15 months. And without going into the details of the terms, people came together and got in groups here celebrating, whether in the hospital or in the streets on 10 sites across the Gaza Strip and further in the northern part of the Strip in Al-Mawasi.
Damn, my guy would have given Reagan credit for releasing the Iranian hostages. I think the thing that you don't understand in that process is that even if there was incompetence, you're talking about a foreign adversary, not stopping a foreign ally. Okay? Joe Biden had the opportunity to do this with one phone call. I talked about this virtually every single day for 15 months, that Joe Biden can stop this today. He can stop it tomorrow. He can stop it yesterday. He chose not to do so. Do you understand? He chose not to do so. Israel was the party that was responsible for refusing to recognize the conditions set forth by Hamas early on, the conditions that Joe Biden represented as the conditions that Israel had placed on the ceasefire negotiations on July 2nd. And the deal that is in place right now is virtually identical to those deals. There have been more than 30 different instances where Hamas tried to facilitate a ceasefire. Israel refused it every step of the way. Joe Biden made it seem as though Israel was not the actual responsible party for refusing to deal with the ceasefire, and it was actually Hamas that was ruining it. And that's what's crazy about the situation, because Joe Biden had virtually every moment, every opportunity, all the power, all the cards to stop this by forcing Israel to meet his demands. And for a lot of liberals, I think this is impossible to contend with. Okay? Giving Donald Trump the opportunity to take credit for the ceasefire is entirely in the hands of Joe Biden. Okay? That's it. It is entirely in the hands of Joe Biden. Okay? If you think that Trump, additional pressure from Trump, and the whole cut it out narrative that Trump applied in this situation, or maybe even a secret side deal that he cut with Benjamin Netanyahu, which will inevitably lead to possibly infinitely more bloodshed down the line, which I do believe he did. Okay. But if you think that Donald Trump was not the mover and shaker in this circumstance, and it was Biden, and he just simply couldn't facilitate this for 15 whole months and was able to do so in the last second, you're out of your mind. Here it is. A diplomat briefed on the ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas credited progress in the talks in part to the influence of President-elect Donald Trump, saying it was the first time there has been real pressure on the Israeli side to accept a deal. Who was ruining the deal? Who was refusing to abide by the deal? Was it Hamas? Was there more pressure necessary on Hamas? Was that the case, chatters? Did you learn nothing from my coverage for the past 15 months on this? Is that you didn't hear anything? You just went la 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 la, can't hear you? No, Biden kept lying over and over again. Anthony Blinken kept lying over and over again throughout the entire process. There are numerous instances where I continuously showed you over and over again that Anthony Blinken would go on tour and openly state that it was actually Hamas that was the spoiler of the deal. It was actually not Israel that was the spoiler of the deal. It was Hamas. When we could see with our own two eyes who was actually spoiling the deal. So one must ask the question, why was Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden actively defending the Israeli side of the conversation? And why is everyone saying Trump pressured Netanyahu? Come on, man. Y'all are out of your goddamn minds if you think that the Biden administration finally packed this up. 2 weeks ago, Biden gave $8 billion of arms to Israel. 2 weeks ago. Not even, January 3rd, working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire. I guess you genuinely believe that when they were saying it. The grossest side of this is that Biden had all of the power. He is the president of the United States of America. He could have done this. He could have done this day one. He could have done this early October 2023. He could have done it in November. Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden actively sabotaged the peace talks, the ceasefire talks, and defended the Israeli side by lying to the public. Here it is. Blinken apparently tanks ceasefire negotiations by fabricating a story to make Netanyahu look good. One of the many lies the Biden-Harris admin told to shield Israel from criticism. This is from the Times of Israel reporting from a couple months back. He pointed to a meeting Blinken held with Netanyahu in August, after which the secretary announced that the Israeli premier had accepted a U.S. bridging proposal for a hostage deal. The Arab official, along with a member of Israel's negotiation team, told the Times of Israel that this was empathetically not what had unfolded in the meeting, and that Blinken's comments had thrown a major wrench in that round of talks, which ultimately fell apart. How many times do I have to show you the receipts? I mean, I was there. I was covering it in real time. If Democrats knew, this was a funny tweet from Ryan. If Democrats knew that losing the election might lead to a ceasefire in Gaza, they'd have fought harder to win. Credit where credit is due. Okay, the Teflon Don, he did it. The Mad Lad, he did it with a goddamn real estate developer he golfs with too. That is how much power America has over Israel, and not vice versa. Okay, it's all a matter of who holds the cards. It's all a matter of actually pulling the levers of power if necessary, whether it is because you have a grander ambition for the region, a larger design for the region down the line, because you got $100 million from Miriam Adelson to permanently annex the West Bank, or whether it's because you want to look good for your inauguration, or whether because you're a major Nixon head or a Reagan head and you really wanted to do exactly what they did back in the day, because you have this tendency to relitigate to reinstate old historical wounds of the Democratic Party in the way that famous Republicans have in the past. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What matters is Biden had all of the power to facilitate a ceasefire for 15 months.